so nervous. From the Norcross Service Unit of the Girl Scouts are here tonight, and the girls want to come on up.
The Norcross Discovery Garden Park. For over a year, the board has put in hundreds of hours in planning this sustainable park. They've had public meetings, they've conducted surveys, and they've listened to what you wanted, and they've included some of the concepts in the overall design. I want to change gears for a minute, because before you can go forward, a lot of times you got to look back to where you've been to see how far you've come. I'm going to show you, this is what downtown Norcross looked like when I moved here in 1998. Man, have we come a long way. Some of you remember. But with a lot of hard work, we've made our downtown into a thriving, happy place that we're all proud of. Our downtown is nestled between two parks. And I think, I think about Thrasher Park, and I think that's one of our crown jewels. I don't think our founding fathers would have ever thought, looking at this park, that we would have had a vision for what it is now. And we have thousands of people that come to this park each year. But it took money and it took vision to make it happen. When my son played baseball on Lillian Webb Field, I would never have dreamed that this would have taken the vision that we have now and make it into the showplace that it is. It's truly a work of art. But again, it took vision and money to make this happen. When I think about Blue Mobile, I think that is the most photographed fountain in all the metro area. I mean, I know it is in Gwinnett County, but I think we could say it is in the whole metro area. And I wish I had $1 for every photo that was made there. We've expanded our downtown with the purchase of this piece of property. When you look at this and you look at the church now, and you think about we've made it into a playhouse. We've taken this building and we've made it a community center. And the directory is a special events center. I mean, it's amazing. But again, it took vision and money to make it happen. Used to, when you turned down Lawrenceville Street, you stopped at City Hall. That was where downtown stopped at. And you kind of looked down and you see the Welcome Center off in the distance. But with the recent purchase of the cotton gin, can you believe it looks like that? Because man, have we given that a new life. To think that that's a workplace for businesses. And I think the coolest thing is that we got a new restaurant with outside seating. But some of you would ask today, why would we have chosen the Welcome Center for a site of the Norcross Discovery Garden Park? When you're planning a sustainable park, there are a lot of things that you need. You need to have sunlight, you need to have water, you need to have accessibility, and you need to have a level, well-drained site. The Welcome Center offers that and much more. First off, we'd be using a piece of property that the city already owns, and we'd be turning it into something unique and special. Talk about accessibility, this piece of property's got it. If you can't get there, it doesn't matter about the rest. And being next door to the fire station, you got 24/7 monitoring. You got somebody there 7 days a week, 365 days a year. But I think what the neatest thing is, we already have parking there. Our city has a track record of doing things right in our parks and in other facilities. And y'all, we're poised to do it again. The estimated construction cost for this park was $350,000. But I want to share with you some of the highlights of what we'll get from this park. When you look at the Welcome Center and you think about the Norcross Discovery Garden Park, it's a great match. We'll be able to offer programs that will go hand in hand. The possibilities for this park are endless. I mean, when you think about having sustainable raised beds with handicap accessibility, having art and water features, having a green classroom that offers a wide range of classes from the young to the mature students, options for students to do field trips. And when you think about education, educational opportunities set this park apart from the other parks in Norcross. When we think about the kitchen, think about the demonstrations that it offers. We'll have cooking classes on how to cook with fresh herbs, farm-to-table dinners. And think about children being able to work with a chef, preparing a meal after what they've just harvested. Our nonprofits will be able to share in the garden. They'll help educate their families on a better lifestyle. Norcross Cooperative Ministry will teach their families nutrition while they're organically growing their own food. Annandale Village residents will have the opportunity to do hands-on learning experience. Deb talked about the Girl Scouts, and the Girl Scouts are kind of one of our good champions, and they want to adopt this park as their ongoing service project. We've talked about the past, we've talked about the future, and we're We've talked about the present, now we're looking at the future. And we've celebrated our successes, but we're poised to do it again. You know, I look around the room and I look at many of the faces, and I know that we've sat in this very building and we've talked about the vision for what this could be. And you know what? We've done it. We've made it happen. And I hope that you all will get as excited as we are, and that you'll see the vision for this new park in Norcross. Because the Norcross Discovery Garden Park truly will be a place to imagine. Well, thank you. And Sean, I want to introduce Sean Murphy. He's with B+C Studios, and he's going to give you a really good view of what's proposed.
Good evening. First, you're not supposed to be a proud person, but I want to say that I'm very proud to have been involved in the legacy of the parks of Norcross. Having worked with you all now for, I guess, we're going on 5 years, starting with Thrasher Park and continuing across the street to the one right here in front of the facility, and even assisting on the larger one here to our left. It's been a real pleasure. As usual, this project started out as a small idea and has grown to a really great project. And I think the big grand idea that it's become is really fantastic for Norcross. And I'm happy to see that you're thinking out of the box and you're thinking beyond just 10 little wooden boxes on the grass, which is where this started as what it is today. So my responsibility tonight is to primarily talk about the master plan and major components. Let's see, I've got to use this laser pointer here. Excuse me for putting my back. For those who aren't familiar with the site, the Welcome Center is right here, Orangeville Street at the bottom. And there's a clearing today that occurs behind the Welcome Center. The fire station is back here. And in fact, right here alongside the fire station is the fireman's outdoor lounge area, which is kind of nice because it's right across the street from the seating area. The first thing you'll notice, and you're going to see the difference between the plan on the boards and the plan up here. A small mistake we made. Communication was, there was an earlier concept where the flower beds were out here closer to the street, and the latest concept that staff liked was with the flower beds further back. So the first thing you're going to have is your gateway signage and an entrance, like a gateway monument for the pedestrians entering the site. This area here would be reserved for events. If you had a tent, you would get the lawn space to put up a tent. If you have a garden party or something like that. Immediately behind the gateway is a cutting garden or a pollinator garden. It could be a combination of both. And it's also kind of sets the stage for what you're about to experience. As you come in, you have a focal point of a piece of public art. And the idea of the master plan is just to propose a location for the public art, but not what that would be. We would hope that your arts committee group would come up with some art for this project. From there, you immediately have a view of the major plot area of the garden. All these can be raised beds, and they can be for lease, or you could have permanent beds that are maintained by gardeners to be given a plot or a that sort of thing. I'll back up a little bit here. If you come in a car, your experience is built right now, but that island doesn't exist. It's just all parking along here. And the idea is we would create a little bit of a gateway statement right there by installing a peninsula and putting trees on either side of it. So you go through another small gateway here. This entire area would be covered in like slate chip or some kind of gravel that would compact underfoot so you could still roll wheelchairs and so forth on it. And speaking of accessibility, all the gardens that are along the concrete would be directly accessible by wheelchairs, which there's concrete that kind of surrounds the garden. Other couple of major elements are the kitchen area, and this is really just a placeholder. It's not saying what it really is going to be, but the idea that there's a kitchen area here, it's a shelter, it's a grill, it's a place to do demonstration and have seating and have the sun. There's a focal point right here, which we assume might be a water feature, something to create a little bit of the white noise in the garden. There's quite a bit of traffic on Lawrenceville Street. And then again, another focal point. All of the sidewalks here have actual relationships with various focal points. So this would be another place for public art, and that would be backed up by a wooden arbor, which kind of helps encapsulate this entire space here. The other thing is we have a fence around the entire garden, and that kind of separates the public from the private. When I say that, I don't mean that the garden is private, but it's an area that the gardeners will maintain versus an area that the city will maintain on the outside. Coming down here, we get kind of to the back of house facilities. Along the way, we'll have some orchards. When I say orchards, you have to visualize rows of blueberry bushes and that sort of thing, not apple trees. Then there's a seating area right here, which we thought was a really nice relationship with the fire department. The guys can come over when they're grilling and sit there in the shade instead of over there on the hard brick. And also, if you have students here, buses and stuff pull up, there's enough room for 4 really large picnic tables underneath there, and we could seat 30 kids if we needed to in that area in the shade. Continuing on down, this area is subject to some flexibility, but essentially the idea is that you would have a greenhouse in that area, the tool shed, men's and women's bathroom, and some learning gardens, some learning plots, and the recycle bins, the compost bins, and that sort of thing are all located back in here. And then we also had an idea to provide kind of a slab where you could have a small dump truck pull up and dump your replenishment soil and have it on a slab, and that way you can scoop it up real easily with the shovel and put it in the gardens, because when you're going organic, you have to replenish your soil on a regular basis. The only last thing I'll say is we did a little bit of screening along the side, and we kind of reserved just a little bit of natural area. There's a couple of large trees on the side here and here. We bumped the wall out around to ensure that we preserve this tree. The nice thing is we have no trees here, which is to the south, so we get that sun coming right into the site. But we get a little bit of shade along this edge, so those who want to go get some shade can go sit on the wall that's on that side. But we don't really have a problem if we let these trees get a little larger, shading out the garden. They just give us the avenue of shade, which is perfect. And that pretty much sums up the major components of the master plan. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over.
We have a panel that's going to give you some more information about what this park has to offer for our community.
You want to introduce yourself?
Thank you for being here tonight. I'm Connie Weathers with Sustainable Norcross Commission, and I'm going to mention a little bit about sustainability in the garden that's been planned in by our public board. The Green Communities Program is a voluntary, rigorous certification program offered by the Atlanta Regional Commission for jurisdictions in the 10-county metro Atlanta region. Its purpose is to encourage local governments to become more sustainable and reduce their overall environmental impact. Local governments earn points from among 72 measures in 10 categories by implementing specific policies and practices that contribute to overall sustainability. Green communities are recognized as leaders, and the benefits of certification include fostering civic pride, creating a positive image of a place to live or conduct business, setting an example for businesses, organizations, and individuals seeking to reduce their own environmental impact, leading to greater quality of life and attracting economic development. And I think our tourism speaker might touch on that a little bit. All 10 categories would be represented by at least one measure if all of the requested features and plans are implemented at the Norcross Discovery Garden Park, a place to imagine. And there are many benefits of the individual measures. For example, the proposed project could add a demonstration green roof with living plants. I think there's a poster behind me that has some of that on there. Benefits include stormwater control and lower heating and cooling costs. Creating a greenhouse made of salvaged vintage windows, salvaged bricks, and other reclaimed materials would support continued credit for the innovative demolition salvage initiative the city implemented in 2011. Benefits include lower construction costs, community involvement, and a charming rather than institutional appearance that better fits the setting. Inclusion of a community garden within a city park would continue to provide an amenity that promotes healthy living, builds community, and meets the other goals of lifelong communities and green communities programs. Join us in promoting the inclusion of as many green communities measures as possible at this exciting new venue. And when you get up, please mill around and join us over at the table over here and take a peek at some more of the sustainability features and look at our slideshow. Thank you for being here.
My name is Jill Swenson, and I've lived in Norcross for almost 35 years. And I've been a teacher for over 30 years, 22 years right here in Norcross at both Stripling and Norcross Elementary. I was at Stripling when they put in a garden, and I was amazed at the learning that could take place in that garden. And that is what we want to bring to the Norcross Discovery Garden Park. We want to have programs for children ages 2 to 102. For young children, we want to have dig in the dirt, get your hands dirty, hands-on, songs and nature crafts. For older students, we want them to learn about plants, parts of plants, worms and insects, and how does this all fit together in our environment. We're hoping that older students will use the park as a place for field trips. We want the children to have a place to grow vegetables and food, and also a place to prepare it and cook it. The Norcross Girl Scout Service Unit has adopted our park. There are over 600 girls in 50 troops that want to be accessible to this park to use it for their ongoing service project and use the garden for learning and working on their badges. The oldest kids, well, I would call those adults, will have their own classes. We had a class not too long ago with Tim Daly from the County Extension, and he had a class on raised bed gardening. This Saturday, we will have a class on growing vegetables. And I think there will be an emphasis on tomatoes, but growing vegetables. On May 9th, there will be a rain barrel workshop. We have future classes planned. We hope to partner with the Atlanta Audubon Society on how to attract birds to your garden, Fernbed Science Center, and a class on pollinators and monarch butterflies. We want to have classes on native Georgia plants and cooking with your vegetables that you pick right out of your garden and canning your own food. We had a class last year on canning, and it was very popular. There might be other classes that you're thinking about that maybe we haven't thought about. Over at the Education Center, there is a clipboard where you can sign up for the class this Saturday, for the class on May 9th. And if you have any interest in a class that you would like to see, there is a place over there where you can put your ideas, and we will see if we can make it happen. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Julie Foster. I've lived in Norcross about 9 years now, and I'm a Gwinnett County Master Gardener. In my 15 years of volunteering both in the county and in the state with the Master Gardeners, I've never seen anything like this proposed garden park. It addresses so many different aspects of the community, and we're so fortunate here in Norcross to live in a community where we all embrace diversity, creativity, and more than anywhere else that I've lived, we have a huge sense of community involvement and community pride. And this garden park aligns so well with all of those aspects. besides the garden beds that we'll have available to rent to members, by members of our community, we'll also have donation beds. And the donation beds, one of the donation beds will be, it will be tended by Norcross Cooperative Ministries, which is an outreach program here in our community serving needy families right here in Norcross. The bed that we currently have out in the garden in back here is being tended by 2 families that are being served by the co-op. And until recently, one of them was homeless. They're now living in transitional housing provided by the co-op. They come, they tend the bed, they can take home the produce, they have healthy food to take home to their family. The really cool thing is going forward, we're going to be able to partner with the co-op to provide them with some of the produce that we have, the surplus produce, almost like a Plant a Row for the Hungry, where we can give them that. Up until recently, they were only able to accept non-perishable items. So this will be a really nice way for them to have fresh produce made available. The other bed that will be tended, the other donation bed will be tended by Annandale Village, which is a program for special needs adults. It's both residential and non-residential. Currently, they come to the garden once a month. Deb Harris does a great job. She works with them once a month in the garden. Then they do a craft and they have a snack. It was really cool. I was here with Tanya Moore and I were volunteering when they came when we were harvesting potatoes. And I don't know if any of you have ever harvested potatoes before, but of course the part that we eat is buried under the ground, and the green part, that's all you see. So, it's like it's digging for buried treasure almost, and we would lift them out of the ground and to see, the surprise and the excitement, they really, really had a great time. I was talking to the caregiver who said that coming here each month is the highlight of their month. In fact, my aunt and my mother live here in Norcross, and they volunteer once a month. They're both senior citizens here. And, to be able to incorporate that group, senior citizens as well as children working with, with the folks from Annandale Village, the folks from the Norcross Cooperative Ministries. I mean, it really is amazing to be able to bring that many different groups together in our community. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I am Rainey Green and I am with Georgia Tourism, which is a department of the Georgia Department of Economic Development. And at the end of last year, Kate Kitchen invited us out. We have a resource team that goes out to different communities and kind of assesses the situation and gives them some ideas to increase tourism, because we see tourism as economic development. And I actually have a few statistics for you just for Gwinnett County. In Gwinnett County alone, they supported 11,330 jobs throughout the county, tourism did, and also generated $1 billion in direct tourist spending, which I cover 8 counties for the state, and that's one of the largest. Tourism created $40 million and 85 in state tax revenues and generated $31.6 million in local tax revenues, which equated to about $267.80 in tax relief per household. So when we came out, Kate and Connie and their team gave us a tour of Norcross. And first off, we fell in love because we thought the community was amazing. And then they told us their idea about the garden park, and we thought that is such a great idea. We haven't seen anything like that, but of all the aspects that they were going to put in it, it seemed like a great idea for economic development. Not only will the community benefit from it, but visitors will also. We are focusing specifically on culinary tourism this year, and this park will go a long way into bringing people in to see how things actually go from farm to table, especially when they're doing the cooking classes. So not only will the park provide something for people to do that are already visiting, but it may bring somebody over to visit that wouldn't already come. And then they'll spend money in the community. They'll stay longer. And then we always say, before you move somewhere, you're normally a visitor. So you may even have these people move to your community. But we thought that it was a great idea. We also gave some other recommendations for Norcross, but just all the different components added up to be a great thing for economic development and also to increase tourism to the area. And I have some other statistics and information if anybody has any questions after.
Good evening, everyone. My name is John Davis. I'm the City Planning Director for the City of Norcross. I've been a resident of the area since 1974. I've watched Norcross regenerate itself about 3 times now. They asked me to talk about the relationship of the garden to a sustainable community. I'd like to ask you all to think about a few things about Norcross. One of the things I'd like you to think about is look around this room. Just take a look. Take 10 seconds to look around. What you see in this room is a community. Every age is represented. Most groups are represented. What is a community? What makes a community work? It's the people in it and the attitudes of those people. It's also, most importantly, the spaces that the community creates for people to go into. Think about it. We have Thrasher Park. It's very well attended. We have William Webb Park. Incredibly well attended. Have you ever gone by there and not seen kids playing in that park? I doubt it. The downtown itself is one of the most dynamic people places in the county. If you look around at the posters that are here, every one of these posters addresses something that could happen in this park. And they're all part of the things that make life in your community sustainable. There's educational opportunities, there's plant growing, vegetables, flowers, whatever you like, teaching people about where do plants come from. You know, there are a lot of people who think that most of the food you have grows in a fridge at Kroger. It's kind of funny, but a lot of people would think that. They really would. They can learn about things here. They can learn about where food comes from, how it's harvested, how can it be done organically. They also learn about each other. If you've ever been in a community garden, you'll see people are working together. People help other people. That is the basis of community. This garden is a microcosm of what the city of Norcross is. Thank you.
Open it up for anybody that has any questions or wants to make any comments. Anybody?
From the park, is there any plans for rainwater collection?
How do you want to address that?
Rainwater collection?
Yes.
Any plans to collect rainwater? Since we have the big rain already there.
Yes, the Welcome Center is already a demonstration site for both rainwater collection and reuse, as well as HVAC condensate collection and reuse. Those areas will be reworked and made a little more aesthetically pleasing. And we do have a picture behind us there on the sustainable features, as well as on the slideshow, there are some additional photos of various rainwater collection systems. And we do have the class coming up for the benefit of the Girl Scouts on May the 9th, and I hope you'll be there.
Does anybody else got anything? Any questions, comments?
I'm Mary Polly, and I have worked with these ladies on planning this. And I've heard a lot of people talking about how educational the garden is and sustainability. What no one has said is how much fun it is. To me, it's entertaining.
That's right. That's true. It is fun.
And it's, I like to see things grow. And I did want to ask the guy that designed this, I just want to know one question, and I'm sure you haven't guessed it. I want to make sure those beds are level Are they gonna be level, especially with the rain that we've had?
I'll tell you a little story about my community garden. I got called in after the fact, and it was great, and it was done. The grading was like this.
Yeah.
So we had to build the plots and make one side taller than the other. You couldn't really do that, so we had to dig one side into the ground and raise the other side. It's a nightmare. I wish they would just stop and done it right. So this is definitely going to be done right. If you go look at the site today, it's pretty flat as it is. We probably make it even a little bit more flat before we get started. I didn't get a chance, and I realized I forgot to bring up one thing I was supposed to say, and let's talk a little bit about the quality of this vegetable garden. A lot of people, when they think the term community garden, they immediately visualize a wooden box or CMU blocks with grass growing all through them and somebody having to maintain them constantly. That is oftentimes true. And because this is in a very highly visible location, it is right behind your welcome center, it is right next to your fire museum, it's right next to your most prominent fire station, it's a block from your city hall, it's a block from all your best parks. It's got to look really good. So for that reason, I had so far today proposed that all of the beds be raised to kind of a seating height. And that does a couple of things. First of all, it makes the maintenance much easier because you don't get weed creep from the pathways into those gardens. It also makes it a lot harder for little critters like rabbits and stuff that generally stay on the ground to get up higher. And it also, I would propose that they be built out of masonry, stone, or something like that instead of wood, so that you can build them one time and never have to deal with them again for 30 or 40 years. For those who don't know, wood, especially cedar, which is what people prefer for organic gardening, in contact with the ground, it won't last. The reports are 5 to 7 years. So although you may ultimately spend a little bit more up front, I think it'll be well worth your money if you go that route. So the other thing is you have the history center right there, and the historical architecture, and the quality of all the architecture immediately around the site. It just lends itself to needing, for this space, to have a nice public front. So that's why it has the fence, that's why we have the great beds. Answer your question? All the beds being perfectly level.
One thing that's been, what has been discussed that has not been brought up tonight, we've got the fire station obviously is next door, but also where the fire truck, the old fire truck is, the little museum for that. One of the ideas that I thought was very exciting, being able to pull that fire truck outside and have some type of a meal or an event in that facility itself, which is right adjacent to it. So I thought that was really a very forward thinking. And as I said, we have parking there, and we have parking towards City Hall as well. And now we have a restaurant down there too, so it's like kind of all works out. If you can't raise enough to eat, you can go over to the wing.
I can be pretty loud, but my name is Susan Satterfield, and I live right around the curve, and I'm thrilled about this garden going in. We are beekeepers, so I'm pretty sure our bees will come over and visit you. We can only make suggestions about where they go, and they go wherever they want. But I just wanted to ask if it's going to be a pesticide and herbicide-free garden. That's awesome. And the other question I have is, are you looking at the lot next door?
You know, that's not a question for us. That's really a question for the mayor and council. And that's not something I can answer.
But bring that up to them. Those guys will work here today. I think the other, you had a question.
I just want to know what the size of the garden are.
I think they're, where is Dale? I think they're 5 by 8 right now, and the size of the beds are 5 by 8. We may tweak that, make it 4 by 8, but they're 5 by 8 right now.
If I can add, if we go the masonry route, there's a good bit of thickness that you lose. So 5 kind of, there's a reach distance that we're all comfortable with. And 5 feet makes it so that from either side I can reach the center of the garden and I can walk into it.
Anything else?
I wanted to just say 2 things. First of all, I love the idea of this community garden. My mother and father retired at Portsmouth, Virginia, 30 years ago, and there was a community garden for the people who were retired and didn't have their own gardens anymore. It was lovely. My brother and his wife live in Dogtown Island. They have a community garden. It's not a new concept. It's a concept that's been around a long while, but I'll tell you what, you guys have done a beautiful job. I'm a historian, so I like a good story. And this, you synthesize all the benefits. A lot of work, a lot of thought has been put into this, and I just think how absolutely lucky we are to live in such a creative, thoughtful, diverse, embracing community. And more and more people get involved, and we just continue to reap the benefits. So thank you for educating us on this. I think it's just marvelous.
Anybody else?
I can just.
Okay. You can stand up. You have to stand up and talk.
Lives over in that area. I'm very excited the potential of this to happen right in our neighborhood, which is great. I also, would love to somehow find out if that lot next door could be somehow not incorporated into this, but considered. So I don't know what we would need to do to.
Well, you talk to the guys that are on the council. That's who you talk to. So they're the ones that can help you.
I just want to say, Norcross Garden Club is just down the street from you, just a little bit. We're always home. The big plan is fabulous. I think that there's many things that I've talked to Mel about, and Connie about, and Jill, and we hope to work with them with some of these things that, that you're doing.
Well, we sure hope you'll do the cutting garden and garden and the pollinating. That's what we hope you do. Anybody else got anything?
Do you have anywhere in the room that people are interested in the event they can sign up?
Until we get this, you can give us your names, but until it gets to be a full-fledged garden park, we really, we can take your names, but we can't make any promises. We got to get it first. We want it, not the guys. We want it. We got to get it first. Anybody else? Y'all, I'm so glad you came tonight. Thank you so much. And I want you to take a few minutes to, walk by and the people are going to be here talking about the different parts of the garden. But please walk by and look at it. What do you got more? What's the next step? Where do we go from here? Well, it goes from the mayor and council is what it does. And like when? No. Yes. It needs to go from
Just briefly, I'm the mayor from the side. I forgot what it was. But what happened was as we started out on this project, we said to the folks, come back with a concept. And what they came back with was a little bit of sticker shock for us. And so what we did is Josh Baer, who's Mayor Pro Tem in the room, said, let's just step back a minute and kind of be sure that we've included the whole community. And so they've done a number of different meetings. This is kind of the last community meeting that really shows the whole plan. So we postponed voting on this until we're sure that the whole community had a chance to weigh in on it. And then we were kind of going the right direction. We covered all the areas, and then we felt like it was the right thing to do, and we made good statements. We don't know. We postponed it till, is it next month, Josh? Do you remember the?
Might be the June meeting.
Okay. It will be, if you check the calendar, we postponed this to a date certain, and then we'll pop back up, and I'm sure you'll get information from the folks who are involved in this. It's important that we hear from you at that, not only just tonight, many of the council members are here and are hearing from you directly, but also that night at the meeting when we make a decision on that. And as I said, it may not be all at once, it may be a step-in type process. We haven't really figured that out. Obviously, there's a big financial piece of this, and timing is a part of it as well. So that's the next step. So,
Oh, okay. I'm going to give it to Deb and let her wrap it up.
Nicole. There she is. I want to thank Nicole Adams from our new bakery in town. If y'all haven't been there, it's Ginger Spice, and it is where the old bank used to be. I'm losing my voice, if you can tell. And the little name tags tonight were made by students at Norcross Elementary School. They made these out of grocery bags for us tonight, so that was very sweet. And I thank all of y'all for coming, seriously. We really do appreciate it. And I just stopped by and looked at the posters, and thank y'all.
Pulling weeds and picking stones, man is made of dreams and bones. Feel the need to grow my own, 'cause the time is close at hand. Grain for grain, sun and rain, find my way in nature's chain. Tune my body and my brain to the music of the land. Inch by inch, row by row. Plant your rows straight and long, temper them with prayer and song. Mother Earth will make you strong if you give her love and care. Old Bro watching hungrily from his perch in yonder tree. In my garden I'm as free as that feathered thief up inch by inch, row by row. Inch by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow. All it takes is a rake and a hoe and a piece of fertile ground. Inch by inch, row by row,